because this is important to do so that people in hard economic times have access to information they wouldn't have other times. Well, we're a decade beyond that now. That building faces west. It gets the prevailing west winds here with all the rain and snow and sun and every sand that flies up into it. To avoid $100,000, $200,000 shortfall, I want to be taking a very hard look at the maintenance plan for that library, so the type of problem that when it becomes a real financial problem, it's not an, oh my heavens, we didn't plan for this.
Thank you. Karen.
That's true. And again, as Ray has mentioned, 40,000 is not a dynamic amount, but it is something that can be looked at throughout the entire budget, and cost savings can be made. No one service should be cut. I think that would be detrimental to the operation of the library and to the service, a service to the community. However, looking at the economies of scale, if I can take that word from Ray, look at the areas that have more of a return on investment, and then you can come back in some areas, not eliminate the service, but cut back perhaps in some areas. But again, saying this without looking at the budget in front of me, and spending some time researching that's a tough thing to do. But as a trustee, I would have the background to look at those kinds of things, and again, maybe capitalize on some of the other areas where we could use grants to enhance an area without having to do any additional expenditures.
All right, thank you. I will go now to the audience. Do we have any questions from the audience? Looks like we do.
Steve Young, 7 Fiddler's Ridge. 4 years ago, my assumption is you're both not incumbents, and you're both newcomers to the library. 4 years ago, there was a newcomer that ran against the incumbents, and a rumor was passed around that they were going to close the library. And I'll ask your opinion on closing the library as first part of the question. But the second part of the question is if we did have a catastrophic situation, and certainly $40,000 is not, but if we did have a situation where you had a $200,000 shortfall or 20% of your budget, what would you do? What days would you close, or what would your thought process be?
Karen, let's stay with you on that one. Right?
Okay. Well, first of all, I am a strong proponent of the library, and I would never see that as closing. That's not an option. And again, I don't think we can do that because, of course, we have an obligation, and I think by law we have an obligation to have a library available to us. And it might be a proximity thing. I mean, towns can share too. They can share resources. So we could look at those kinds of things. I'm sorry, what was the second half of your question?
A catastrophic situation, $200,000 loss.
And I would continue on that. Where can I look at the possibility of maybe working with a consortium to help us out? And if that might mean cutting back on hours, but not to the detriment. It's still, you can still stay open every day. You don't have to maybe stay open till 8 o'clock every night. Maybe it's a 7 o'clock thing, or maybe it's a half Saturday, or, I mean, there's different things. There are part-time positions rather than all full-time positions. There's just different things. I hate throwing stuff out here when I don't really have that, and conjecturing is a tough thing to do. So if I had that in front of me, just know that I think the best thing I can say is that I can look at the entire budget and try to find efficiencies.
Thank you. Ray.
$200,000, or what you term a catastrophic loss. I agree with everything Karen says, although that time, at some level, we're talking about the vertical cuts. And I would look very hard at summer hours first, but then you're probably talking about personnel savings. As in any organization, people are what costs the most money. So we're probably looking at positions, if they're vacated, not hiring, or, I hate to do it, eliminating something that we have to term, if not non-essential, least essential. It's too bad, but sometimes you need to make those hard decisions. Might also be looking at some of the compensation that we do pay to our employees, which librarians, and I know because I'm married to one and my daughter is one, are not getting rich being librarians. However, the compensation to our folks at the Leach Library by library standards in New Hampshire is not bad. So maybe we need to take a look at that. Those are not options that I relish looking at, but would, in a position of trustee, would be obliged to consider.
Well, I would like to wrap it up here at this point and thank both of you for coming. I think your practical approaches to the questions and the problems that have been brought forth to you is valuable for the community. Also, thanks for taking part of your Saturday, along with the rest of us, to spend here before the camera. We will be getting this out so that people do get a chance to see this portion as well as the rest that we've done today before elections. So again, thank you very much. And again, thank you to the panels and the audience. We'll take 5 minutes and we'll go to our very last item here, which is the town moderator. Thanks very much.